Hey guys, my name is Phyllis Vance and today I'm going to be showing you how to create two versions of a Joker cake. We got a cute version and we got an extremely creepy one. I'm doing this because I love the movie. As depressing as it was made really well, so let's get started. Now before we get to it, make sure you hit that like button as well as the notification bell so you can see all the videos I post on this channel as soon as they go up. Now to create this cake, I am starting with my cake mold. I'm using my Skull Cake Pan. Makes this cake super easy. Just turn it over, pop it out, and you got the basis for an awesome face cake. Now the thing that I love about this cake pan is that I don't have to carve any features on the face, which saves me so much time. This makes carving face cakes extremely easy. So if you want to purchase this cake pan, there are links for you in the description box so that you can find it and buy it. Just to clarify, I am not being paid to say this. I've used this skull pan on my own several times to create a lot of different awesome skull cakes. I just found another use for it and I'm going to be using it for the rest of the life of this channel, really. So if you want to create some of the cakes I'm going to be creating later on this year, then you're gonna need this skull cake pan. Now I am creating a face cake, so after I added buttercream in between my cake, I'm using some leftover cake dough to fill in some areas where I know there's gonna be flesh, like his nose, inside of his mouth, and I just emphasized more of his cheek. Then it was time for the crumb coat. And I'm applying my crumb coat with my gloves because it makes it easier to get into all of the cracks. You know, if you use a spatula, it takes so much time to get into the eye sockets and oh gosh. I want to save as much time as I can, and I did already, and I don't want to stop there. I totally forgot that I had to account for his hair because he's got this really nice triangular hairline, and so I decided to create it with some leftover cake. I want to make sure I get the top as well as the sides, and I just glued it on with some buttercream. I carved a lot of this leftover cake away before I gave it a crumb coat. And you know, if I were to do this again, I would be able to save more cake, but because I wasn't sure how much cake I needed, I just put on a lot. I know, a lot of you guys find it very unsettling how much cake I have to carve away. I'm sorry, but it has to happen. I did think that his cheeks need to be filled in just a little bit, so I'm adding some pieces of cake to the side as well. But still, saves so much time not having to carve his eyes and his chin and the rest of his face. Now after I gave this baby a crumb coat, I placed it into the fridge to chill and I started to work on the kawaii version of my Joker. This is an extremely easy cake. I'm just using a 6-inch funfetti cake to create the shape. And I'm squaring off the bottom of his face just a little bit because I think it'd be cuter that way. I also created a divot at the top so that I knew where the bottom of this cake was. It's such a basic shape. I was scared I was gonna lose it. Now we got some buttercream and we got some purple and green buttercream on the inside. I had a lot of leftover buttercream, so I'm using it here. And purple and green are the Joker colors, so it worked out perfectly. Add my next cake on top, and then gave my cake a crumb coat. Now, because this is such a basic shape and I'm not doing a lot of carving, I didn't put this in the fridge set. I just placed on my first layer of fondant. So this cake is really soft underneath my fondant, but that's okay because I'm not really working with it too much. Now, the Joker that I'm creating that looks terrifying, I wanted him to look very manic. So I wanted this to be extremely different, and so I'm creating this very nice, very put together hairline. Just using one piece of lime green fondant. Look at that, look how slick that hairline looks. Ooh, and then I'm adding a curlicue like Superman. Who are you looking so suave? Now, I could have gone like a lot of different directions with this cake, but I decided to recreate the Joker from the new movie. That's the reason I'm creating this cake, man. So we got some cute diamonds under his eyes, we got those bomb looking eyebrows, a cute smile, and a little red button nose. Now I gave him catch lights with white fondant And I thought it'd be really cute to highlight his eyes with a little bit of yellow. It just adds a little bit of sparkle and it makes all the difference. Oh, I love it. And when I was finished with that, my Joker cake was complete. Super simple, super cute. Now let's get back to my terrifying cake. Now instead of covering my entire cake with white fondant to create his face, I'm starting off with his mouth. And I'm using a crimson, like a very dark crimson piece of fondant to create the inside of his mouth. And then I'm applying each tooth individually. Look at that, creating this monstrous grill. This Joker cake is like all teeth. He's got bigger front teeth than the Easter Bunny. Those teeth are massive. What would an orthodontist say of these teeth? I don't know. At least he still has all of them, unlike some of the other cakes I create. Now I'm applying my gum line, look at that. Very easy, just fondant on top of the teeth, working it around to make it look like gums. One thing I realized about creating this cake is that white fondant is really easy to blend together. So instead of covering this cake with one piece of white fondant, I'm gonna create it using two pieces. White fondant blends together so easily. Black fondant blends together the hardest, I think, and it also cracks the most. I think the more food coloring is in the fondant, the easier it is for it to crack. But with white fondant, I didn't have any problems at all. After that, I started to shape my Joker cake. And guess what? It was easy. Because of my cake pan, go buy it for yourself. Again, I'm not a sponsor. They didn't tell me to say this, but I have to because I love it. So I added 2 pieces of fondant to create his eyeballs, and then I'm just blending in smaller pieces of fondant to create the eyelids. All the while, I'm just adding a lot of wrinkles because I want him to have a lot of smile lines and a lot of crow's feet. I have a lot of crow's feet. You see that? I got a lot. A lot of people always tell me that it's bad for you because it shows that you're aging. I'm like 37 years old. This is not aging. Now because it's easy to blend white fondant, instead of adding his nose at the beginning, I decided to just add it on afterwards and blend it into the existing fondant on the cake. I was hesitant about this because it's the first time I've done it. This is all just trial and error, but it worked perfectly and you can't tell at the end. Look at that. Look at that ugly nose just sitting there so perfectly. Once I finished with all his wrinkles, I added some green fondant to create his hairline. What color green? I don't know because I lost all of my paint cards. So I'm gonna say that this is a lime green, like a Lululemon lime green. I'm using a Lululemon lime green to create this hairline and it's looking dope. Now to make it look realistic, I'm just adding as many hair follicle lines as possible. I started with some fondant tools, and as I worked my way around the cake, I started to use an X-Acto knife. Finally, I added the middle part. Oh, you got a receding hairline like nobody else, homie. I really love the way that this hairline looks. It's so signature. Now, I didn't think his hair looked manic enough, so I'm adding little pieces of fondant just to add some chaos. You know, I don't want it to look too put together. I want him to look like he just rolled out of bed a little bit, just like all the people in Silver Lake. Are some of you guys from Los Angeles? Do you understand that? So many hipsters, man. I don't know if they've ever seen a comb. Also, I don't know if I've ever seen a comb. After I was happy with his hairline, I started to paint my cake. I'm starting with his eyes. I screwed up a little bit. I made them yellow, but I'm gonna change that later on because I wanted to add more character. And then I moved on to his teeth. You'd think for somebody who had such a big grill that he'd have white teeth, but no. These teeth are stained. These teeth are as stained as the inside of a Starbucks coffee cup. Ooh, you're drinking way too many mochachinos. Now, using some diluted black food coloring, I'm just painting his hairline, and it's kind of just falling into all of the grooves I created and making it look more realistic. And then I gave him a facial mask. Red and black food coloring and magic sauce. I just wiped it off with a clean paper towel, soap, and magic sauce as well. I know a lot of people who create cakes would create all of these lines with airbrush, but I'm not comfortable with that. I bought it, but I haven't used it yet because it's terrifying to me. So I'm doing it this way. And it's working out well. It's so weird though, but it's working out well. Now I'm adding some pink to his eyes as well as the corners of his smile, because I wanted his eyes and the corners of his mouth to just look really raw looking, like he was crying, the way I was crying when I took my parents to watch the Joker movie. You guys, somebody told me it was a family friendly movie. That's a big lie. I'm adding a juicy bottom lip and then painting on a top lip with some red food coloring. Now I turned this cake into two versions of the Joker. And the first version was like a culmination of all of my favorite animation versions. The original animated Batman, as well as the Batman, the animated series. And voila! My realistic interpretation of the animated Jokers was complete. I love it. I love that red eye, it looks so scary. Now I wouldn't be doing this cake if it wasn't for the new Joker movie. So I'm using some food coloring to recreate the makeup that Joaquin Phoenix wears in the movie. Yeah. And voila! My second Joker cake was complete. Do you like it? Is it scary? He must chew like a horse. Now I'm curious, which one of these cakes do you like better? Do you like the kawaii version, the cute one, or do you like the coffee stained teeth version? And which one of those do you like? Do you like the classic Joker makeup, or do you like the makeup from the Joker movie? Now I think this skull pan is everything, and I just used it to create a bomb Maleficent cake. So you're definitely gonna need this pan if you're gonna try and make these cakes. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love you. I will see you very soon. Peace!